All righty, sports fans, welcome on in. It is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. Oh man, we had a great, incredible weekend of football. It continues tonight, of course, with the Houston Texans, Pittsburgh Steelers playing each other. But boy, were we in for a treat, and it was just phenomenal. All the great things that happened. So fun to watch the NFL playoffs and everything that's happening, and we're going to cover all of it today, but. We're going to start the show off with something that I am just super excited about. Longtime NFL coach Tom Moore, of course, he won 4 Super Bowls in his time in the NFL. He coached for, I want to say, 47, 48, 49, 50, over 60 years of coaching in time, but he's one of the longest tenured, he might be the longest tenured assistant coach in NFL history. He's going to join us today. So I want to welcome on in Tom Moore to the program. Coach, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning. Doing great. I'm glad to be with you.
Okay, so now because you just retired? You just retired. Was this are you the longest tenured assistant coach ever in the NFL?
I'm not sure, but if not, I'm certainly close.
I mean, it's 47 years. Is that right? I want to make sure I get it right.
48.
48 years. Okay. 48 years as an assistant. He was with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He was with the Jets. He was with the Lions. He was with the New Orleans Saints. He was with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the Arizona Cardinals, the Minnesota Vikings. I think I got them all. There might be I got the Colts, Vikings, Lions. Anyways, you've been a lot of places, but you started in Pittsburgh right in the kind of heyday of the 70s Steelers. How did that come about? How did you get your start as a coach in the NFL?
Well, I was very fortunate. I was at the University of Minnesota at that particular time, and a good friend of mine, George Perlis, was the defensive line coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He and I coached together at the University of Dayton for John McVay. And he was on the Steelers staff, and the receiver coach, Lionel Taylor, left and went to the Los Angeles Rams. So he recommended me to Coach Noel, and I went in for an interview, and then when I left, Coach Noel was taking his time making a decision. Finally, George went into Chuck's office and said, "Chuck, hire the guy, and if you don't like him, you can fire both of us at the end of the season."
Wow.
And so he hired me. And as I said, I was fortunate. And back in those days, we only had 6 assistant coaches. One head coach. We had 3 on offense, 3 on defense. And so I went in to coach the wide receivers and the tight ends in the passing game. And then, of course, Chuck was coaching quarterbacks. Eventually, he turned that over to me. And then we had a running back coach and offensive line coach. And defensively, we had this line coach, secondary coach, and linebacker coach. And Coach Noel coached the special teams.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was pretty commonplace. All the staffs were 6 or 7 people. And a lot of them, the entire staff coached special teams. Some organizations, the head coach actually was the special teams coach. And it really wasn't until Dick Vermeil came in. He'd been with UCLA, and he got the Philadelphia Eagles job. And he brought in a coaching or a college type of organization as far as coaches, and he was really the leader in establishing the larger coaching staffs.
Did you ever coach special teams?
No, I didn't get that opportunity.
So, how was it? This was an established culture team. How challenging was that to come into and be a part of? They had success, and what was that like?
Well, it was challenging, and I wanted to make sure I did a good job, but I was nervous at first because I was replacing a very, very good and popular receiver coach in Lionel Taylor. And we had some veterans, Len Swan and John Stallworth were there, Frank Lewis, and they were great to coach. And I really take my hat off to them. They probably helped me more than I helped them, if the truth be known. But it was a good relationship. And the one thing Swan did when I got there was he came in and talked to me, and he says, "Hey, Tommy," he said, "we got good receivers here, and we can catch the football, but the biggest thing, when you come and teach us what we don't know, help us become good pros, because you can make a lot of money in this profession." Back in those days, $100,000 was a lot of money. And help us prolong our careers. So that's what we worked on. We worked on reading coverages, adjusting routes, and just at that time, different forms of coverage, cover two, and things like that were becoming vogue. And also, at the time I came in, Pittsburgh was really a big time running team. But that was the same time they changed the chuck rule at the line of scrimmage to open up the passing game. And so we became very proficient. And of course, we had Terry Bradshaw, who's obviously one of the greatest that's ever played the game. And Swan and Stallworth were now in their third, fourth year come along. So we became a good throwing team. So just kind of all meshed together.
So if you're Terry Bradshaw and you have the game is on the line, who do you throw to, Stallworth or Swan?
Well, you throw to the opening guy. Whoever you throw to is going to catch it. And
but those guys were always open.
Well, pretty much so. And if you got the ball close to them, they'd go get the ball and catch it. They're both tremendous and tremendous people and tremendous players to coach, and they were so good to me. I'm certainly indebted to them, and I've told them many times they probably helped me more than I helped them, if the truth be known.
Did you realize it in the moment? You're mentioning these players, and you're not even you talk about Stallworth and Swan and Bradshaw, and of course Franco Harris. I mean, that team was loaded with future Hall of Famers. Did you realize it at the time, or was it just, hey, we're just doing our thing, we're going to work, or did you go, these people are extremely special? This is highly unusual to have this many Hall of Famers in one place.
Well, you knew they were special, and of course they'd won 2 Super Bowls prior to my arrival, and the year before I got there. Let's see, 1976, I believe it was, in the Pro Bowl, they had 10 Pittsburgh Steelers on defense. And of those teams, it's interesting, of those teams, 5 on defense, 5 on offense are in the Hall of Fame.
Just crazy. I can only imagine what it was like every day. It must have been just truly special. What do you remember most about Terry Bradshaw?
Well, Terry was a tremendous football player. He got some bad raps, which was really uncalled for. But he was a great competitor and a hard worker and extremely smart. To run Chuck Nolan's offense and do all the things that he did with calling his own plays and all that stuff. He had a great knack for the game. He had a great awareness of situational football. He knew exactly what was happening the whole time.
You mentioned quarterbacks kind of taking an unfair rap. Why do you think that is? Help me understand this. I never had that experience when I played. I never took a bad rap.
Well,
I got booed at home games, Tom. Talk me through this. Why do quarterbacks get a bad rap?
Well, it's common nature. People like to take people that are on the top and bring them down. It makes them feel good, I guess. I don't know. But they like to see it, and they don't understand the quarterback position, how tough it is. I mean, it's just unbelievably tough. And I always liken, Nolan Ryan, who was a fantastic pitcher in the major leagues, right? Well, he's got the most perfect ball in the world. He's always the same distance from the batter. He can take as much time as he wants to throw the ball, and nothing ever changes. Everything's static. Well, some days he throws a no-hitter, and some days he can't get the side out. Now you take a football quarterback. He's got the most screwed up ball in the world. He just got his ass knocked off the play before. He's got 40 seconds to get the play off. He's got to read. He's got to process. He's got to digest everything. Some days he's off a little bit, just like that. I don't know why. It just happens. And the quarterback position is such a tough position because of all the thought processes that you have to go through that the other 10 guys don't. And you got to get them headed in the right direction. And it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of study, a lot of preparation, and a lot of dedication to be a National Football League quarterback.
So there's this story, and I just want to it's a Tom Moore story. I want to verify this. So you were coaching the Indianapolis Colts, of course, Peyton Manning, and John Gruden is there to broadcast the Monday night game, and supposedly, allegedly, and I want to verify if this is a true story. He talks to you and he says, "Hey, Coach, I noticed that your backup quarterback doesn't get any practice reps, and Peyton Manning gets all the reps." And your response to him was, "We don't practice effed, right?" And so if our backup quarterback goes in a game, then we're effed. Is that a true story?
Yes. Yes, and I'll tell you how it all came about. When I was at Pittsburgh, Bradshaw took every snap in practice, every snap. And he used to tell me, he said, "You better get me as ready as you can, because you might not win it with me, but you ain't going to win it without me." and so that was the same with Peyton. It was the same with you.
Yeah, no, I know.
You took all the snaps.
You're darn right they did.
because that guy needs them, and you're limited in your practice time and your preparation, and to me it just doesn't make sense to spend a lot of time. Not that guy didn't deserve it, not that guy isn't a good guy, and it's nothing demeaning or it's not putting anybody down. It's just the way it is. And you got to get your starters ready, because they're the guys that are going to win it for you. And you hope the backup can assimilate mentally so that if something happens, he can perform. But to give him all the reps, you can't do that.
You were really good at, in Detroit, the time we had there, you really got the most out of who we were. And it was an interesting group of players. You had these really good receivers, had an amazing running back. Who was unique. Barry wasn't a Franco Harris. He wasn't a guy that liked to run inside. And you made the game a very complicated game. It kind of slowed down, and you really made it a lot easier for us and got the most out of us. And not every coach can do that. How did your style or your philosophy of coaching kind of come about, and how did it evolve over 48 years?
Well, as I tell you the story, you will remember it vividly.
Yeah.
That year we started out, we were 1-3, and things weren't going real good. And you take a running back, And there's three ways to work with the running back. You can create a hole, find a hole, or finesse a hole. And so we were trying to create a hole. We were using all that motion stuff to try to, figure things out, and it just wasn't working. And we got Barry. So Barry's thing was, nobody moves, nobody gets hurt. Find out the best place to run so he has a chance, and he'll find a hole.
Yeah.
Which he did. So we stopped the motions, as you remember. The next thing you do is you take your offense and who are your best 11 players? And our best 11 players obviously was Barry, you, the offensive line was set. Now, we had one tight end, David Sloan.
Yeah.
We had three good wide receivers. We had 11 players. So that's what we did. We took those 11 players and we went 2 by 2 and 3 by 1, and kind of a philosophy. And you remembered the meeting we had, and they said, Tom, let's just, if they got too many guys line scrimmage, let's throw the football. Because we can be one-on-one coverage, and I can remember as it happened today, I looked everybody right in the eye and says, okay, you told me that if we don't do any motion and run where they're not, and if there's too many, we can be one-on-one coverage, that's what we'll do. And that's what we did. So we stopped the motions. We went dice right, dice left, trips right, trips left.
Yep.
That was our two formations. And we ran where they weren't. And if everybody's at the line of scrimmage, and sometimes we'd hand it off and everybody's at the line of scrimmage, because Barry'd make that guy miss.
Yep.
But I remember we played Chicago, and they had that cornerback Harris from Mississippi State. He was a rookie. He was scared to death of Herman Moore. We threw 12 hitches.
Yeah, we did.
If he's holding to the ball, up there to him. So to make a long story short, we were 1-3, and we had a Monday night game with San Francisco.
Yep.
And we came back and we beat San Francisco, and they had Steve Young, and they were a pretty powerful team. And we beat them, and we won 9 straight.
Yeah.
And from that time on, I said, get your best 11 on the field, and you decide what we're going to do. Don't let them decide what you have to do. We'll make that decision. And so it just kind of evolved from there, and you were excellent at it. And if they gave us something, take it. Don't worry about it. And then we threw. I remember we had. I love to throw slants.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that wasn't your thing. You didn't throw them real well. But so I said, okay, well, let's do this. Run short ends. So instead of a 3-step drop where the secondary can break on a 3-step drop and hinder the slant, let's go 5-step drop and throw short ends. Well, hell, Herman Moore caught 122 passes one year. And that was something that you were very good at. So do what you do. And when things don't work out, continue to do what you do, just do it better. You change all the time, and all of a sudden, all that stuff you practice in August and September, you get to November, December, you're not even running it anymore.
Right.
So do what you do, and so that's how it all came about. And you were part of it. You were there.
Yeah, I was, and my only regret is that I didn't have more time with you, actually, because we had a lot of really good players there, and boy, I would have loved to. It just didn't work out, but when it was there, it worked well.
We went from that. We went from 1-3 at that point to doing what we do instead of letting the defense dictate what we should do. We led the league in offense.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun, Tom. It really was.
Yeah.
And you were so great at it. You really put us in a great position. And I just wonder if maybe some coaches do too much. Is that a thing?
Yeah, I think, coaches sometimes are their own worst enemy. A lot of coaches, and I was one of them, at one time are insecure. They think that if they don't put in
Mm,
3 new runs and 4 new passes, they're not doing their job. Well, the problem is if you put them in, you got to practice them. And if you practice them, you should run them in the game. So you go back to get all that stuff you did in August and September. By November, December, you're not even doing anymore because you're adding this new stuff all the time. And just do what you do. And I learned that from Chuck Noll at Pittsburgh.
yeah.
This is us. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to do it better. And it gets down to fundamentals and techniques and the basics. And the game's not that complicated. It's just not that easy. Is the best way to describe it.
Yeah, Coach Shula was the same way. I mean, we had a system. He had a system, and boy, you. This is who we are. This is what we do.
That's what we
Um,
do.
yeah. So you've won 4 Super Bowls as a coach. Is there a Super Bowl that means more to you than what? Which one stands out? I guess and means the most to you.
Well, they all stand out. They're all unique. Of course, the 2 at Pittsburgh, they're my first and second. And one of the things that I learned in Pittsburgh, and really this was personified with Peyton, is to have answers. Have answers. In other words, okay, if they stop this, what's the answer? How
Yeah.
do we answer that? And I remember the first one I was there, Dallas came up with the 2 the safety and the linebacker in the A gaps. Well, when we saw that, we went to a tackle trap and got a touchdown. And when we saw it again, Franco stepped up and the guy rushed, and Franco just bumped him and released right straight through, and Terry threw it for a touchdown. And so those 2 big plays, stand out. When we played the Rams, we knew what Bud Carson was going to do, and he was always going to double the slot in an in and out technique. Well, anytime you get in and out, you beat in and out within posts. Well, we did that with Stallworth and got 2 big plays, which helped us win that. With the Colts, getting through that season and the playoffs with Baltimore, which was really good, and then of course with the Patriots. Then we played the championship game in Indianapolis and won late in the game, I think 38-35 or something like that. But anyway, beating them and having Peyton get to the Super Bowl, because if any guy ever deserved everything he's gotten, Peyton did. Peyton was just a tireless worker and a hard worker, and you felt so good for him and for Marvin Harrison, those guys that have worked so hard. That was very gratifying. And then the gratifying thing, surprisingly, with Tampa Bay was that was the COVID year.
Right. Yeah.
We opened up the season in New Orleans, and we're playing a game, and there's not one single person in the stands.
Wow.
And that place looks like a funeral home, and all the time it's dark and stuff.
Right.
But we're playing the game, and nobody there. And we played the Bears on a Sunday night, I think, in Soldier Field. Ain't nobody there. And it was a weird feeling. And we got we were 7-5, struggling a little bit. New Orleans was pretty good because they had Breeze, and so we ran off 8 straight. We were 7-5. We run off 4, to get to the number 5 seed. And as the number 5 seed, we played the 4 seed, which was the Redskins, and in Washington. And you take those trips, and in the playoffs, we took 2 planes, so people could be spread out.
Oh wow!
We went to the hotel, and the team bought out the hotel. There was nobody in the hotel.
The whole hotel.
Yeah,
wow.
They bought out the whole hotel. So we beat them. So now we got to go to New Orleans, who'd beaten us twice, and they got Drew Brees and Kamara, and they're pretty good. And we beat them. Now we got to play the championship game in Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers, who we know is pretty good, and we go to Green Bay and beat them, and to me that was a classic NFL game for me, being an older guy. Green Bay, Wisconsin, in January, where it's cloudy, it's cold, there's snow flurries. I mean, that's football.
Right.
So we beat them, and then we come back, and that's the first time a home team has played the Super Bowl. It was in Tampa that year.
Yep.
And by that time, I think they let something like 30,000 people in the game, and then they took all the other seats and put in dummies.
Oh, really?
Seats. Yeah.
Wow.
So the stadium was full, but 45,000 of those were just characters.
Bunch of dummies, full of a bunch of dummies.
Yeah.
That sounds like a normal week.
And then we played Kansas City, and they got Mahomes and Kelsey and Tariq Hill, and they're pretty good, and they got 3 field goals. And so that whole scenario, and that's where I really pay tribute to the organization, all the sacrifices they made to make it possible, buying out hotels, flying 2 planes, and to Bruce Arians, the head coach. I mean, handling that situation, because I can truthfully say this, you've been around pro football players, they're always bitching about everything.
Yep.
I never heard one single player or one single coach complain about one single thing that entire time. Yeah. And man, there were lots of inconveniences that you could, we had to get our nose checked every morning. They had a big trailer outside the complex.
Oh my goodness.
And you had to go get swabbed every single morning.
Get the deep swab up your nose?
Yeah.
That's not pleasant.
And you had to wear a mask all the time. And they got a team picture, which I got on my wall, of the Super Bowl team.
Right.
And they've taken it from up top of the building, because everybody's got a mask on and everybody is 6 feet apart.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's one of a lifetime picture of a championship team, but it's all because of that COVID stuff. And so that was an interesting experience.
Oh, I can imagine. It's funny you were talking about players complaining about everything, and it truly is remarkable to win in spite of all of those circumstances and the changes and adjustments, because we're all so used to routines and having it a certain way, and then you list the quarterbacks that you all beat in to get there. Is it's a kind of a who's who of quarterbacks. It's truly remarkable. I have so much more I want to talk to you about. Are you okay to keep going here for a bit?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got nothing else to do.
I got to take a break real quick. We're going to take a break, but when we come back, we'll talk more with none other than the legendary Tom Moore. This is the Down and Dirty. We'll be right back.
You probably get unwanted emails almost every single day.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Have you ever wondered why so many pet parents are choosing to have virtual vet appointments? Online veterinary care is making it easier than ever to get expert advice for your pet. Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns and expand access to pet care. Book your first appointment today.
Hey, welcome back, sports fans. Oh man, this is just a great day for me personally, and I hope you all can appreciate this. This is some of the best history, really, of a long part of the history, story of the NFL. We have legendary, longtime assistant coach Tom Moore joining us, four-time Super Bowl champion coach, and he goes from Bradshaw to Brady and a whole bunch of guys in between. And I was fortunate to be one of those guys. He's mentioned, of course, Peyton Manning. You've been around and coached some of the greatest players of all time. You coached a ton of wide receivers. Who sticks out to you the most? Is that even a fair question? Because you have some Hall of Fame legendary wide receivers, but tell me a little about some of the wide receivers that really stick out most to you.
Well, I've been around so many great ones, and I don't have a favorite because I love them all.
Yeah.
And they were all unique. They all had their differences, but the one thing I can say about all of them. And John Elway said it best. And he said, to be great, you got to be good every day. And that kind of personified those guys' greatness. I mean, I take Swan and the Stalwarts. We go one-on-one, receiver against defender. Well, Stalwarts wouldn't go against anybody except Mel Blount. And Mel Blount, he won Stalwarts every single time. And Marvin Harrison was just a tireless worker, and he was such a profound influence on Reggie Wayne, and made him great. And Herman Moore was a hard worker. Brett Perriman, Johnny Morton, you remember those guys?
Oh yeah, yeah.
The one story, and you were there. We're playing Tampa, and we got to win to get in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we're winning. It's a Saturday night game, and we're winning. And so all we need to really do is get a first down or two, and we don't have to score anything. Anyway, Herman Moore needs 4 catches to break the record. He had 118, he needed 122, so I remember putting you in the game, and I said, throw it every down and throw it to Herman Moore. And so we went in and you threw 4 straight times and threw it to Herman, and he got to 122 catches. And at that time, we got down to about the 18-yard line, and it's a 2-minute warning. And all we have to do at this point is just kneel down. The game's over. We're in the playoffs. And Brett Fairman came over to me, and he says, Tom, he says, I need 36 yards to set some kind of record.
Right.
I said, Brett, we can't. We're on the 18-yard line. How the hell are we going to do that? He said, well, tell Scott to take a sack and go back and John, I said, no, Brett, we ain't doing that. But all those guys, they had fun. They knew they were going to, and I used to tell them, okay, now here's the deal. We're going to throw the ball about 600 times, and we're going to complete over 400 of them. So someone's going to get a lot of catches. Now, here's the deal. If you get open and you catch the ball when it's thrown to you, trust me, he's going to throw it to you. Now, if you don't get open and if he does throw it to you, you don't catch it, he ain't throwing it to you. Now, that's the way it is.
Right.
And that's the way it is. I mean, who are you going to throw to? You're going to throw, if you know Herman's going to get open and catch it, that's who you're going to throw to. And so those guys worked to get open, to get a lot of catches. And I think you remember that Thanksgiving Day game against the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
We had about 500 yards. Those guys all had over, the 3 of them had over 100 yards, and Barry had over 150 rushing.
Yeah, it was a fun day. It's always fun on Thanksgiving. So you've been an assistant your whole career. You interviewed, I believe, with the Lions at one point to be the head coach. Did that ever bother you? Did you ever wish you would have been a head coach? I mean, because you were a phenomenal assistant, but how do you feel about that?
Well, I never worried about it.
Yeah.
That was never my motivation. Would I like to have been? Yeah. Did it happen? No. Did I get cheated? No. I don't feel like I cheated, and Mel Blount gave me what I considered a hell of a compliment. His son bought my book for him for Christmas last year.
Yeah.
And he read the book, and he called me up after he read, and he says, you know, Tommy, he says, I know you maybe want to be a head coach, but he said, the Lord works in mysterious ways. He said, I don't think he wants you to be a head coach, because once you're a head coach, you don't get to coach anymore. And he said, you like to coach. And the Lord did you a favor. And I think he's right. I'm not trying to be a good head coach. I'd have probably been a little bit too meddlesome. I don't know. But I don't feel cheated. I don't feel like I'm a failure. I don't feel like I missed the boat. I've helped so many people, and so many people have been so good to me. And the NFL gave me a life I'd never had if it wasn't for the NFL. And I've lived a dream.
Well, I'll just tell you, I'm one of those people that you've had an impact on, and you had the best time of my career was when you coached me, and so I would echo that from Mel Blount, and I do have your book, by the way. It's The Player's Coach. If you want to go get it, it's a great book. I mean, it's just fascinating your history in the NFL and the people that and the places that you've been. I have to ask you. So I saw something about that you were a remote assistant for the New York Jets. Is that correct?
I was not an analyst, consultant. I went in there for training camp, and then I went back I went there for OTAs and out mini camp. Then I went back for training camp, and then the last 5 games of the season, Rex called me and asked me to come back up for the last 5 games of the season. And in between that time, I studied tape at home and sent them reports and stuff like that.
Did you like that? I mean, was that good, or because you talk
Yeah,
about being a coach and kind of being around the players and the whole thing? Did you enjoy that, or was it like,
it kept me busy,
yeah,
but no, no.
yeah, I would,
I enjoyed the interaction and the direct contact with the players, but it was new, and but then I did that, and I did that with Tennessee for years. Then Bruce got the Arizona job and hired me, so I spent 5 years in Arizona, and then this past 7 years with Tampa Bay.
yeah. Um, Speaking of coaches, and of course, John Harbaugh was let go. Matt LaFleur possibly going to be let go in Green Bay. Some of the hotter names are, I guess, more sought out coaches. If you're one of these guys, you're a guy out there looking for a job right now. What do you look for? Because it just, clearly, speaking of the Jets, there are just some organizations that just don't win. And where would you want to go today if you're a head coach? And what are you looking for in an organization that would be appealing to you? And you say, hey, I can win there, and this is where I'd want to be.
Well, I think it depends upon who you are. In other words, if you're John Harbaugh, you're going to have your pick because he's a great coach, got a tremendous track record, and so he's going to have his pick. Some guys aren't going to have their pick, and if you don't have your pick, and you want a head job, you got to take what's out there for you. And it's a bad job or it wouldn't be open, make it a good job. That's your job, just like Chuck Noll when he took the Pittsburgh Steelers job. Then one long time, well, he took the job and made it a great job. I'd take my hat off to Liam Cohen down in Jacksonville.
Yep.
This time last year, that probably wasn't too attractive. But he took a job, and I told him, he asked me, I says, don't worry about if it's a great job or not. Take it and make it a good job. And some guys do. Now, you got to have help, and you got to have players and stuff, but, usually the great jobs aren't open.
Right.
So you gotta decide, and the biggest thing that you gotta do is you gotta have a plan. And I remember Mr. Rooney telling me one time that this was in the mid '80s, and this was after Chuck Noll won 4 Super Bowls. We were talking about coaches and stuff like that, and he told me, he says, Tom, he said, Chuck did his best job coaching his first year, and his first year he was 1-13. And I said, well, why would you say that, Mr. Rooney? He said, because he came in, he knew exactly what he wanted to do, he had a plan, and he stuck with his plan. And he didn't come in. Sometimes you come in, all of a sudden you change. Well, this ain't working, so we'll try this. Well, no. I mean, get your staff. You got to know your staff, so you're not replacing coaches all the time. That kills you. Get your staff and get your medical department, get your equipment department, get those things. Know exactly what you're going to do and have a good plan, and then stick with it.
Tom Brady, one of the things that I think really impressed me was it just seemed like Tom Brady elevated the whole expectation from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers organization from the time he walked in the door. What was your time like with Tom Brady with the Buccaneers?
Well, I mean, you're absolutely right on that, and the same thing with Peyton Manning. When he came with the Colts, the Colts weren't that real good when we got there.
Yeah.
And both those guys, their presidents, they came in and just their presence demanded respect, and then they earned it with their performance. And their expectations were not outlandish, was just hey man, this is professional football. This is the way we do it. This is the best, and you knew that they were going to give you everything they had, and the big thing with them is the players around them knew their commitment and their dedication, so they bought into it. Hey, if he's going to do it, then I better do it. And like when the COVID year, which was the year Brady came in,
Right.
We had a quarterback, and he was telling the story how during COVID, and me too, other than stopping to get gas, I went home and came to the office. That's all I did for a year.
Wow.
That's the only outside with people I had. And he was telling, this quarterback was telling, he did everything by the books because he didn't want to be the guy to give Tom Brady COVID. and that was kind of the mindset.
Wow.
I don't want to be the guy that screws this up.
Right.
and that was the mindset they had, and we never had one instance.
That's pretty cool.
With it.
That's a great story.
Yeah, those are the type of things, and you know, both Peyton and Tom were such students of the game, and you know, had the ability to recognize and recall and process, and then the organizations, you got to give the organizations, the scouting departments, and the owners a lot of credit because they went out and surrounded them with some awfully good players. You know, we got at Indy, we had Marvin Harrison, then we drafted Reggie, and then we drafted a running back, and so we had good players at Tampa. We went out and got Gronkowski. We got the Brown, and so that it's still a player's game.
Yeah. So when we talked on the phone the other day, you said, look, my number 2 pencil, the lead in it kind of ran out, and computers and analytics have kind of taken over the game today. Do you like where professional football is right now? What do you like about it? Maybe what might concern you a little bit?
No, I like it. I think it's at an all-time high. You know, things change, and what the hell? I'm 87 years old. You know, a 35-year-old coach right now, you don't have any idea of my thinking and stuff like that. But I think you saw, you know, to me the greatest weekend in pro football is Wildcard Weekend.
Yeah, which was great this weekend.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah,
unbelievable. And we got another one coming up tonight. It's going to be unbelievable. And what you do is you get these games against the best, and you know, I think all but one game the winning team was behind with 2 minutes left to go in the game.
Yeah.
And so that attracts the fans, and I think the league office has done such a tremendous job of promoting the game, and that's benefited the players. I mean, the salaries these guys make, and I'm for them. I'm for what difference market bears, and the money these coaches make now.
Yeah.
When I started, we made $28,000 a year.
Wow.
And the Super Bowl tickets cost $30. And so, I mean, everything, and that's good. And that's the way it should be. I'm for all these guys making all the money they can. The coaches making as much as they can because they're providing a good product, and it's the entertainment business. And when you put on a good show, people are going to come and watch it.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't put on a good show, then people stop coming. And Roger Goodell, as the commissioner, to me, he's done a fantastic job of promoting the game, and justifiably so. And some people get a little antsy, well, too much. Yeah, you got to be careful. You know, if you killed the golden calf, there's going to be a point. But I think it's in the greatest shape it's ever been in.
Well said. All right. So one last thing. What are you most proud of from your career? You look at, I mean, it's just a phenomenal. I don't know that anyone's had a better career than you. What is the thing you're most proud
of? People like you calling me, who I coach, and saying, "Hey, Tom, you be on my show." To me, it's people.
Yeah.
It's about people. If you've read my book, it's about helping Jake Reed, the receiver at Minnesota. It's all the players that I have helped. Tony Dungy, I recruited him to the University of Minnesota. In fact, I flew into Jackson, Michigan, because he'd never flown before, to fly back to Minneapolis with him. And then after his senior year, that's when I went to the Steelers. I talked the Steelers into sign him as a free agent. And so I go in to sign him as a free agent, and I said, "Okay, Tony, here's the deal." His deal was, start at $2,000 signing bonus. You can go to $5,000. And it's 3-year contract, $15,000, $17,500, $20,000. So I told Tony, I said, "Okay, here's the deal. They told me I could start at $2,000, I could go to $5,000. I ain't doing that. We're going to $5,000 right now, because I don't ever want you to say I cheated you out of $3,000. So that's where he started. So he says, "Well, you know, Buffalo called." I said, "Bob, you ain't going to Buffalo." I said, "You're going to Pittsburgh. Now, here's the deal." Okay, well, he and I, he was like a son. We go back forever. But, okay, everything that's happened to Tony Dungy because of going to Pittsburgh. Well, first of all, he met his wife there.
Yeah.
You don't go to Pittsburgh, you don't meet his wife. So when you reflect back, all these people that you've hopefully helped, and then the proudest thing is once you've helped them, when you see them go on and reach the success and do the things that have happened to them once they get into their life's work, it's a tremendous feeling. And when you see a guy like me, when you called, I told my wife, I says, "Well, you can't believe who left a message." She says, "Who said?" I said, "Scott Mitchell." When's the last time we talked? 30 years ago?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah. But things like that mean a lot to me.
Very well said, and thank you. I really appreciate that, and you've had a profound impact on my life. And I just, this story about Tony Dungy, I'm getting older in my life, and it's all about relationships, and I'm just so grateful that we've had this time today. Really, it means more to me than anything else. So, thank you, and have a great rest of your day, and go enjoy life. And I guess it's in South Carolina right now. So.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Tom. All right, we got to take a break. This is the Down and Dirty here with Scott Mitchell. We'll be back for more in just a minute.
Circulon C1 Series Clad with Scratch Defense Non-Stick. The luxury and confidence of premium clad stainless steel meets Scratch Defense Extreme Non-Stick that won't scratch, ever. With an ultra-thick aluminum core for high-performance heating. Maximize cooking, minimize cleaning. Discover the unmatched durability and elegance of clad stainless steel. Scratch-free, worry-free, forever.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. Whether at home or on the go, NordVPN ensures your digital freedom. Stay secure. Download NordVPN today at nordvpn.com. That's NORDVPN.com. The grinder mentality that Randy and Brent Habert built into 44 Pro runs deep within our team. Every member shares a passion for the craft, the game, and most importantly, the player. When you step onto the field with a 44 Pro custom glove, you'll feel the difference. It's not just a glove, it's a 44 Pro. Crafted with dedication, made for performance, and built to last. Get your custom glove today at 44pro.com and experience the 44 Pro difference. That's 44pro.com, 44 Pro.
At Mapiful, we believe in celebrating your journey, past, present, and future. Our unique personalized products are designed to boost your confidence, elevate creativity, and honor what matters most. From custom home decor to meaningful gifts, we help you cherish the memories that make you who you are. Visit mapiful.com and start celebrating your story today.
Alrighty, sports fans, welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. Oh man, I'm just floating on clouds right now. I had just a tremendous conversation with Tom Moore, who's one of my former coaches, and it was just really enjoyable to chat with him. He brought up talking about wide receivers and all of these great things, and of course this last weekend, AJ Brown with the Philadelphia Phillies. Is it Philadelphia Phillies? See, I'm so flustered now. I don't even know what teams. It's one of those teams in Philadelphia. It's the Eagles. Anyways, he had a kind of a meltdown or some drama. Of course, we call them wide divas, and there seems to be a lot of them. I want to talk a little bit about that right now. But here's what his coach, who was defending him, had to say about AJ Brown.
Yeah, the win. He's got the best hands I've ever seen. The way he catches the ball, the amount of different types of catches that he's made. When you get as many targets as he does, you're going to have some drops. Not ever using an excuse, but the ball moves differently in the wind. I thought Jalen did a good job of cutting the wind a lot of times. We had some uncharacteristic drops, and those. I think we were able to. I think the one that he had, we overcame it the very next play with Dallas, but. I know he's gonna, he'll beat himself up on that, and I know AJ he'll catch 9,000 balls, with the one drop that he had.
Yeah, that's nice. I mean, I appreciate the coach trying to defend, but the bottom line is like it's like right now in the NFL, you have those big moments, big players step up in big moments, and that was a big moment. Fine, they were able to overcome it, but this is your guy. This is the guy that's supposed to make those catches, and those guys don't miss balls like that. And that was right in his hands. Should have caught it. It's not even a question of whether he should have or shouldn't have. And I'm not buying the wind excuse for a moment. The wind is there, and it's been there the whole game long, and it was right there. Your job is to catch the football. And what I find interesting about this is when you have this mindset, and I don't know what it is, and I imagine it's a challenging position to play. I wouldn't want to play wide receiver because you're dependent on the quarterback. And I had a great conversation with Tom Moore, a longtime NFL assistant, just a few minutes ago, and talking about these wide receivers and how they all, their mindset, their process, the great ones, and like they show up in the big moments. They make these unbelievable catches when it's all on the line. And you don't see them sitting there going, oh, sulking or mad or throwing their arms up. I mean, from time to time, maybe someone does it or maybe they do it. But for the most part, these guys are all about whatever it takes to win, whatever I have to do. And I believe when you get in that mindset of this whole drama, this whole pouting mindset, and believe me, I understand the competitiveness of an NFL sideline of a game, and sometimes your emotions spew out. You look at Travis Kelce a few years ago in the Super Bowl, and Andy Reid's like, I understand, understand the situation, and Nick Sirianni understands the situation of his wide receiver. But I just really believe that there are times when there's emotion and it spews over, but there's also some times when there's issues, and there have been issues with AJ Brown throughout the season. And so this isn't necessarily the heat of the moment or the excitement of the moment. It's the frustration of the season. And that I've had whatever those are, because we probably don't know the full extent of it. And I'm sure a lot of it is like, why am I not more involved in what's going on as a team? And you're trying to do this, run the ball too much, or, the distribution of who gets what and when is always a challenge. And it's always a challenge in sports. I mean, we've all experienced it. So, but what really stood out to me was how it impacted how he played, and that there was that moment. And I think everyone in the whole world who saw it said, the reflection of his mindset manifests itself when he dropped the ball. And it's true. I mean, we have a great guest on our show every week, Jim Fannin, he's his own coach. He talks about performance, and he works with some of the top professional athletes and has for the last 50 years. And when you have a bad thought process, it physiologically impacts your performance. And I believe that's what happened with AJ Brown. All right, let's take another break. We come back. We're going to do our whole recap of one of the greatest wildcard weekends, I think, ever in NFL history. It was drama filled. It was action packed from start to finish, and some folks just stepped up. Here's the thing. I think it's really, well, I'll get into that when we come back. And there's more. By the way, there's more. There's a Monday night game, which a little bit unusual, but still a great thing to look forward to tonight. We're going to recap all of it when we return here on the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell.
For 75 years, Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. No gimmicks, just durable, well-designed bottles built to last. Join us on our mission to amplify life, not complicate it. Because at Nalgene, what goes into our bottles matters as much as the adventures they fuel. Explore more at nalgene.com. That's NALGENE.com.
I know you're gonna love this Kodak Dot Plus printer. You guys just connect it to your smartphone, and then you're gonna use the Kodak Photo Print app. It's going to print you a 4x6 photo. I am just in awe. I love how these turned out. Also, the printer comes with a free cartridge of 10 photo sheets. I can assure you, you are going to love this printer as much as my family has. You guys have to check it out for yourself.
Welcome to Kitbag, the ultimate destination for football fans. Whether you're cheering for Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester United, or any other top club, we've got your team's colors running through our veins. From official replica kits to custom player prints of your favorite stars like Ronaldo, Messi, and Kane, Kitbag is your one-stop shop for all things football. Powered by Fanatics, we deliver to over 180 countries, ensuring you get the gear you need fast. For true football passion, think Kitbag. Visit kitbag.com today. That's kitbag.com. Kitbag.
Farmhound's approach is a little different than a traditional treat company. We get to work with local farmers who are putting everything they can into regenerative farming. From the soil to the animals to the ecosystem. They care about how animals are raised and how we treat the earth. It's not just product, but it's part of that story. It's connected to just a whole lot more.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. Oh, this is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. Love the show today. So much fun. This is a great time of year. Probably the best time of year, I would say, as far as football goes. It's the most NFL playoff games that we're going to have. And sometimes they're duds, right? Sometimes they just stink. They're awful. They're terrible. One of the things we've been doing on the show all year long, which is kind of fun. I'm not a degenerate gambler. But I do pick the games, and I don't pick them from a standpoint of take the over, take the under, take the points, whatever. I'm just all about who wins, who loses, because this is the NFL, right? This is the NFL. They're all big boys. All of them can win at any point. All of them don't. And we've had some kind of, I don't know, a lot of shocking games this year, but so I pick the playoffs. I want to go through the picks here quickly. We still have another game left, but I want to unpack this because, man, this was I think in a lot of ways historic, potentially record breaking. I think 4 of the 5 games the winning team was behind with a few minutes to go in the game. So you really got action packed drama from pretty much every single game. Now, the Sunday night game, Chargers Patriots, maybe not, but it was a massive statement game in my opinion, and we'll get into that. But first of all, so I had my picks. So the Rams, I picked the Rams, they won. I picked the Chicago Bears, they won. I picked Jacksonville, and I said that if Buffalo is to win this game, that watch out for Buffalo, because they're for real. This is an on-the-road game. Jacksonville, really stepping it up. So I missed that game. 49ers, Eagles, I picked the 49ers at Philadelphia. And, of course, I picked the Patriots against the Chargers, which wasn't really hard. Now, there's another game tonight. It's Houston and Pittsburgh. And I have picked Pittsburgh in this game over Houston. Oh boy, but watch out for the Houston Texans in this one. Anyways, NFL Wildcard Weekend is always just fascinating. I love to see how the different tempo, the different energy, the different intensity of the playoffs happens. It's fascinating to me. That's just one of the most fascinating things. It's one of the things I think I love the most about watching NFL football is the different intensity level as you go from preseason to regular season to kind of the end of the regular season into the playoffs. And why it's so fascinating is because these teams have been beating each other up and killing each other all season long, and who has the mental fortitude to push through at the end of the year when you've been through so much as a team. So I just love to see how teams react, and it was just really fascinating to watch this first game with the Chicago Bears, and it wasn't necessarily the first game, but it was one that was just fascinating to me. And you typically will have a team like you have the New England Patriots, you have the Chicago Bears, who earned the right to have a home game. Chicago, the second seed, and they barely earned the right. They kind of stumbled their way toward the end of the season. And I think what happened with the Bears is all of a sudden they look up and they go, "Oh, wait a minute, we could be the number 1 seed. We could be the number 2 seed. We could, and every week they kind of would look up and go, oh my goodness, I can't believe where we are, and they kind of took their eye off the prize for a minute. And you could see how it impacted them, and they lost the last couple of games of the year and stumbled into the number 2 spot, which I think was an absolute fortuitous thing for them, a tremendous gift to play that game at home. And quite fascinating to me about how they went in the beginning of the game, and it really looked like, oh my goodness, we're not ready for the moment. It's too big for us. You could just see the players dropping passes, and Caleb Williams was off, and the nerves and the bigness and the change of intensity was really getting to the Bears. And most times in that situation, a team can't get over it. It's like it's like they're doomed. It's over. End of discussion. And you'll see it a lot. You'll see it even with teams that are good or even seasoned teams. I just think of Peyton Manning in his first few playoff games where it just has these tremendous regular seasons. They get into the playoffs, they run into the New England Patriots, and they just don't even look like themselves. And so much of it is just the the change in intensity and their mental capacity at the time just isn't quite ready to handle it. And it's a maturity thing. It's our brains are funny in how we respond to stress and all of the different situations, and not fully being ready to quite handle those situations. And that's what it looked like with the Bears. In fact, I was preparing to talk about this and how the Bears had this massive meltdown. They weren't ready for the moment, and it just kind of passed them by. And it looked like the Packers were just in complete control of this game. And the fascinating part about the Packers side of this is here, they were like, we got it made. We got it made. And I think it's harder when you're the Packers and you're on top to maintain that focus and that finish and not letting not letting anything creep in. One of the great things over the weekend was Mario Cristobal and how they go, and we talked about this, and this coach kind of, reaches up and he's really excited because they just scored. There's 18 seconds left to go in the game. And Mario Cristobal's like, get off of me. The game is not over right now. We can't rest. We can't be satisfied with where we are. And that's what happened with the Packers. I firmly believe this. I think they just said, we got it. The Bears are horrible. They look bad. Caleb Williams has never done anything, and he's not ready for this moment. And then the second half happened. And it was one of the most compelling, remarkable turnarounds and comebacks really in NFL history. Now, it wasn't technically the biggest comeback, but to come back from a mindset that was like of doom and gloom, and just the total reversal of fortunes for these two teams. And 100% of it, I firmly believe, was in all of their minds. And then what happens, you're the Packers, right? And you've lost the momentum, and you're just like, how do we get it back? How do we find a way? And they finally did. And, they actually, were able to come back. And then the Bears had this epic drive. And Caleb Williams, and I'm telling you, and it was one of the things that I said before this game happened. I said, this is going to change the culture. It's going to change the path, the direction of these two organizations. Who knows how long it could be? The Packers now are contemplating, do we want to keep our coach? Who knows? By the time this airs, I may be telling you old news. Matt LaFleur, maybe he's not the coach now. But that fourth down throw by Caleb Williams, and this is the type of thing that is so beautiful, where you have a coach, Ben Johnson, who's done a phenomenal job with the Bears, and he's creating a culture. He's creating a situation. He's putting a bridle on a thoroughbred. And all a bridle does is just give that thoroughbred direction. Say, you can't just run everywhere. Like, you're going to run into fences. You're going to run. You're just going to. We need to have you run in this space. There's a big space, and you can run as fast as you want, and you can go, but you gotta stay on the racetrack. That's it. Or you got to stay on the trail, whatever. But don't. And the bridle just keeps you there. Because Caleb Williams is a talent. I watched Caleb Williams in college for 2 years, and I was like, this guy has it. He has the talent. Now, does he have it between his ears? And it looks like, it's been a process. And good for him, and really good for Ben Johnson to be able to do all this, because it's truly just impressive as heck. And I just, man, I tip my hat off to the Bears and all of what they've done, because it is really, really special, that game. And it very possibly could be that moment. Back in 1982, everyone talks about the catch. And that was the kind of the coming out party for the San Francisco 49ers. Joe Montana, Dwight Clark, the vaunted Dallas Cowboys, America's team, just full of superstars, amazing defense. And here, that moment, but that wasn't the moment. That wasn't the coming out party for the San Francisco 49ers. It was the first weekend. It was the wild card weekend, and they played. And if you ever want to just go back in memory lane, go look up 1982 playoffs between the San Francisco 49ers and the Detroit Lions. Joe Montana was not pretty that day. It wasn't his best day at all. In fact, I think he threw 4 or 5 interceptions. And if you throw 4 or 5 interceptions, you're going to lose. And somehow, miraculously, the Detroit Lions, Gary Danielson, threw 5 interceptions as well. And it kind of equaled it out. And they played just a really, really close game and won. And to me, that was the change. That was the change for the 49ers. They got over the hump. They somehow found a way to win a game that was, one they probably shouldn't have won. The Bears probably should not have won this game. And it's just absolutely remarkable. And we're all the ones who are so blessed if we get to watch this. You can't ask for it to be any better than that. And then, of course, the whole Ben Johnson icy relationship with Matt LaFleur, and there are a lot of memes over the weekend and a lot of people talking about, kind of how that is. And of course, his very colorful language in the locker room after the game, Ben Johnson. And really what it is Ben Johnson is letting the folks of Chicago say, enough is enough. We're tired of Green Bay being our daddy. We're tired of losing, and this has been decades of losing. I mean, there are just years. I don't know that Aaron Rodgers ever lost to Chicago. I don't know that Brett Favre ever lost. I mean, the Green Bay Packers have been so far in the head of the Chicago Bears, and Ben Johnson just is no more. I'm not having it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm so tired of this. And I don't know that Ben Johnson per se is that, because he hadn't been the Bears coach or whatever. He was with the Lions, what have you. And I hated the Green Bay Packers when I played for the Lions, and no offense to anyone. I have tremendous respect for all the folks that were there, but I hated Green Bay. And it was and the Bears just stood up. They stood up. Ben Johnson stood up to the bully, and he let everyone in Chicago know it was okay. The bully is not going to get us anymore. We're not going to lose to the bully anymore. We're the Chicago freaking Bears. And Ditka ain't coaching anymore. Ben Johnson is. Is Johnson coaching? Because that was just an absolutely incredible game by the Chicago Bears. And I'm not even a Bears fan, by the way. I know Martin is. Calm down, Martin. Good for you. So Martin is just going to be happy as he possibly can be. All right. Okay, here this is as equally impressive on really both sides of what happened. The winning team, the losing team, in 2 games. So you have the Rams and Carolina. And Carolina has just risen from the ashes. And Bryce Young, I mean, you talk about rising from the ashes. You talk about a guy that you go, he's the next quarterback that's going to be on the celebrity, first round quarterback bust train that stops off in 4 or 5 NFL cities and then just kind of fades off into oblivion. And he felt like he was that guy. It felt like he was that guy. And then something happened, and a coach came in, the situation got right, Bryce Young matured, and it was incredible. I mean, there were 2 throws in this game as you go, you just can't beat a perfect throw, right? And that was a famous line from Dan Marino. I don't know if he originated the line because there's a lot of great sayings in the NFL and a lot of people say them. We never really know the origination. The first time I ever heard it was from Dan Marino, and he said, "You just can't beat a perfect throw. I don't care what defense you put out there, you cannot beat a perfect throw." And you saw Bryce Young deliver on a little corner route down to the end zone, the perfect throw. And it meant that they were ahead in the game. And it was beautiful. It was phenomenal. And I just said, that guy, has really shown up. And it was really unfortunate that one of these teams had to lose this game because it was that good. And I could say the same thing with the Jaguars and the Bills. It's like it was one of those 2 teams. So there's 2 teams. There's Carolina, there's Jacksonville, who had these incredible games, right? And they just got beaten by some real savvy, really vetted quarterbacks who are really still on the top of their game. Like, if you're going to get beat in the last seconds by either Matthew Stafford or Josh Allen right now in the NFL, you're doing pretty good. You're doing really good. And so Carolina to me, Jacksonville to me, are 2 teams who actually are ones where the playoffs are a springboard and they're not going to be a hangover. You see so many teams that you saw Kansas City a year ago, and you go, oh, the playoffs are going to be a hangover for them. And you saw, I think the Cincinnati Bengals a few years ago when they went to the Super Bowl, and you just felt like, yeah, maybe that's, and it's hard. It's hard because it's so hard to get there. I mean, it's so hard to get to a Super Bowl and be that close, and to lose it, you're just like, whoa. And then to just, okay, we got to, run it all back. We got to grind it all out. We got to go through this just grueling process again. And it feels like to me that Carolina, Jacksonville are the teams that will springboard from this. I don't think this is like a detriment. The Chargers, and I picked the Chargers to go to the Super Bowl. And that was, of course, before they just had so many injuries. And they're just not quite the same team. They're just not the same team. And it kind of showed in their games. But getting back to the perfect throw. So here you have Bryce Young, perfect throw. And then Matthew Stafford throws, like, I hope you can all appreciate this. I really do. The absolute perfect throw to his tight end that basically is the winning throw of the game. And it could not have been in a different location. And the window is like small. It's the size of like your laptop computer screen. That's the target, and it's 20 yards down the field and all the way to the sideline, and it's up in the air. And like, hit it. And you got to hit it. If you throw it anywhere other than in the perfect spot, then you lose. And maybe they don't lose the game, but that's how you win. And that it's that little margin right there. That's what makes it so hard. A year ago, Matthew Stafford, they get down in that situation and they don't convert against the Eagles, and they're that close. And so this is a team. This is a team that's like, if the Rams don't win this year, this is a hangover year for the Rams. And they look like a team that could be a very serious contender to go all the way. And I would not be surprised to see them at the end of the day. And so you've got Seattle, you have the Rams, you have the 49ers, all from the same division, all playing in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Speaks volumes of how incredibly good that division is. And there's so much great stuff going on with the Rams, with the Seahawks, with the 49ers. Just incredible. Now, the 49ers, they like massively impressive game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And again, Jalen Hurts right down, they've got this opportunity to win the game, and it will take a perfect throw to win it, and they just couldn't quite get there. They just were so close. And the 49ers go on, and you go, "Oh, this is really good for the 49ers." And you just really appreciate the maturity of a Brock Purdy. He's a seasoned guy now. He's been in that area, fiercely competitive, and the players around him, and Christian McCaffrey just looks the part. And I think it's one of the great coaching jobs of the year that the 49ers actually were able to do as well as they did. And they lost George Kittle early in the game, and they've lost him for the rest of the playoffs. I think it's almost too much to overcome at this point with that kind of injury. Who knows? You never know. You never count people out at any point. One of the things that I thought about, and it has to be exciting for these teams. There's 16 teams in each division, right? So you have the NFC, and the NFC is down to its last four. Now the AFC is down to 6, and it'll be 4 after. Well, it's 5 now. It's 3 and 2. Yeah, 5. So after tonight, there'll be 4 teams. So right now, you have the Bears, you have the 49ers, the Seahawks, and the Rams. And one of those teams is going to win the Super Bowl, and it's not going to be the same team that won it a year ago. And I think if you look at the NFL and what the NFL wants, and to list those 4 teams, I don't know that everyone said, yeah, those would be the 4 teams I'd expect that are going to vie to go to the Super Bowl at the end of the year. I think people thought maybe Detroit, possibly Minnesota would have been in there. There's other teams, maybe Tampa Bay really looked good at one point, but as it whittles down, these are the ones. And how exciting it is to be one of those 4, and to see this first round of the playoffs, and to see how much it's really like how competitive it was and how entertaining it was. And I love the side of it. Now, Buffalo at Jacksonville was also another great game. And of course, Buffalo pulls it out late in the game, and just a tremendous game to watch. And I just felt like, this whole mental barrier, and it feels like Josh Allen's kind of been fighting a mental barrier. And I think he was fighting the Kansas City Chiefs. And I really, to me, because I think Josh Allen's like 1-5 in his road playoff games. And so to play on the road and have a really good opponent, and I'm just telling you, Liam Cohen has done a phenomenal job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It really just not the Bucks, but the Jaguars. He did a very nice job with the Bucks as well. But here is a guy that just really turned around the fortune of a team, and it was just remarkable. But so I really like him, and I like what they did. But it just felt like there might be a monkey off the back of Josh Allen, because Josh Allen is one of those players I really believe could lead his team to a Super Bowl. And as I look at this, I really am almost of the feeling that I really like the Buffalo Bills and the Los Angeles Rams in the Super Bowl. I just think that would be phenomenal. But I'll tell you who you better watch out for, and that's the Houston Texans. CJ Stroud's had playoff experience. He's healthy now. They have a phenomenal defense. They have a defense that could carry them to the Super Bowl. We'll know if Josh Allen has to go through Buffalo or Houston or Pittsburgh or wherever he might have to go in the playoffs to get to the Super Bowl. If the Texans win, it could be Buffalo, and I don't know, they may play each other. Who knows? But if they don't, wow, old man Aaron Rodgers, if he could win, that would further cement the lure of the Pittsburgh kind of dynasty and everything. So phenomenal weekend of NFL stuff. And I mean, we were really blessed and treated to something absolutely special. And just some of the kind of observations that I made. Tonight will be fascinating. We'll unwrap tomorrow what happens tonight. Right now, we're going to take a break, and we come back. Indiana, wow, they are the hotbed. They are the center of the universe in college football. We'll talk about that and so much more when the Down and Dirty returns with Scott Mitchell.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated with style and durability. You can trust Tervis tumblers to keep your drinks the perfect temperature, hot or cold, for hours. From the classic insulated tumblers to sleek stainless steel water bottles, each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler. Hello, sports fans. Welcome back. It is the Down and Dirty here with Scott Mitchell on YouTube. So glad that you could join our show every day. Please subscribe and do all that stuff. It means a lot to me. This has been a great day. So much fun on the show today. I've absolutely loved having a conversation with one of my former coaches and one of the really most storied NFL coaches of all time. 48 years as an assistant coach in the NFL. 48 years, and coached some of the biggest names who will ever play this game, and just absolutely, oh my goodness, I just love that experience. Had an incredible weekend with the with football, right? And that's what we love. We love football, but it was NFL Wildcard Weekend, and it was wild. And it was special, and it was amazing. Of course, the only team and game that wasn't amazing, but was kind of amazing, was the New England Patriots. And I really think the Chicago or the Los Angeles Chargers are actually way undermanned. So I don't want to read too much into New England. It's just Drake May, massively impressive. Mike Vrabel, the job he's done there, the turnaround that they've had, truly remarkable. I was really surprised when Vrabel was actually fired in Tennessee. It's like, this guy's a really, really good coach. And you almost wonder a little bit about, is Vrabel like, because most Belichick assistants haven't really had great success, maybe a little bit of success. I don't know. Josh McDaniel is now back with Vrabel. And I imagine that's got to help tremendously. It just does, having a former head coach having a great staff there, and just, and having that support, I would imagine would be a tremendous thing for a coach. So I just really impressed with what they've done in New England. there's been so many impressive things to me. And I want to say that might be the most impressive, but I mean, there's so much, and we've had this discussion before. Like, who's the coach of the year in the NFL? You know, is it out in Seattle? Is it in Jacksonville? Is it in New England? Is it in Chicago? I mean, it just feels like, I mean, you could almost say, well, what about McVay with the Rams? I mean, I don't know. I don't know that you could boil it down to one, you know, one team, you know, and we still, there's a couple of teams we still haven't seen yet, you know, that we haven't seen Seattle play. We haven't seen Denver play. What does the bye week do for them? You know, it almost feels like with these more inexperienced quarterbacks, and I'm not saying they're bad quarterbacks, but it's almost like they would be better off playing right now than resting. And I think that's one of the things. Okay. One of the things we did not talk about was Indiana playing Oregon. Now they're two Big Ten teams, and of course that was to go to the national championship. I've loved the playoff games. You know, watching Miami and watching them play, and Ole Miss, and you know, just the storylines, the intrigue, the plot twists have just been fascinating. And I love that game. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I love watching Indiana just dismantle Oregon, and not from a hatred standpoint of like I'm a Duck hater or any of those things, but because I'm really not. I'm very much a fan of Dan Lanning. I just really think he does things the right way. I love his style. I love everything about him. Well, that sounds weird. Not everything, but I respect what he is as a coach, and I think he does it the right way. But boy, the thing that I love about Indiana is that they are just turning this all on their ear, right? They're just sitting there just going, yeah, we know we're not supposed to do this. We know that it's not supposed to be this way. We have an old coach. We have an unorthodox style of doing things, and we're an afterthought in the Big Ten. I mean, think about it. Oregon shows up in the Big Ten 2 years ago, and they instantly come in with more cachet, more credibility, more fan base, more star power, more all of these things, and they just got to the conference than Indiana. I don't know that Indiana has ever had a presence in football. And maybe that's really short-sighted of me, because maybe somewhere along the line, maybe in the 40s or I don't even know. I don't, and I don't want to know, because I love what they're doing right now. I love that they're just being this absolute disruptor of tradition, and a tradition I think needs to kind of get blown up. I mean, I really think that I just really think that we need, how do I say this? I think for college football to kind of move forward is I think everyone needs to be invited to the party. Nothing about this weekend in the NFL did you go, oh man, I'm so disappointed that this team wasn't there. You just loved every minute of it. It was incredible. It was so, and to create that similar type of circumstance in college football, to know that an Indiana can win a national championship raises the hopes of every mid-tiered team in any Power 4 conference. You got a shot now. And that's just what I loved about it. If you look at you look at, like, and it's really BYU's fault, okay? And I'm a Utah guy, and BYU is, big rival. And I don't mean this in a demeaning way. I don't mean this in but what happened in 1984, BYU won a national championship. And they won a national championship playing by the rules of how they picked national champions. And the rules were, if you basically go undefeated, you're going to be in the conversation. You're somewhere along the line. somehow they're going to, and what happened that year, it was kind of one of those perfect storm scenarios. BYU's on, I believe, the first ever broadcast game on ESPN. They go to Pitt and they win in dramatic fashion against the Pitt Panthers. And then they go on and they don't lose a game, and they don't, and to everyone's credit, they play a Western Athletic Conference schedule. So clearly not as, as good as the other teams, but they don't lose a game. And then they go into the Holiday Bowl, and they win the Holiday Bowl. And everyone else lost. They were the only undefeated team in all of college football that year. And so they won the national championship. And people said, we will never, ever, ever let that happen again. And that has to be the most short-sighted, egotistical, arrogant perspective to take. And quite frankly, I think it's un-American. I think it's where it's like, oh, no. You're like, this is the home of the brave and the land of the free and all of those things where, the American dream, the football dream, and people just said, we can't have that happen. So they instituted a very bizarre formula for making a champion, which I despise. And every opportunity I get to despise it, I'm going to despise it on this show. How in the world, when we play competitive sports, and everywhere, we all understand this, that you win by winning. Like we play the games, and the team that comes out victorious wins. Now, there's different forms of how we win. We have a series in hockey and in basketball and in baseball. But in football, we go, no, it's a game. It's a championship game. We don't play a series of games because our games, we play a game, a Super Bowl, whatever. But in college, for some godforsaken reason, we decide that we'll just kind of give you our opinion of who we think the best teams are. And if that was the case, we would have gone through this year. Now, would Indiana have still won? Yeah, they would have, right? They would have been the national champions based off of just, our speculation, our subjective view of things. Let's just get a bunch of people together in a room and let them decide who the best team is. And here you have Miami, the other team. And they barely let Miami in. Like, it was like, yeah, you're gonna, and to this day, I don't know why they did. Like, you could have argued easily for a lot of other teams besides, one of them was BYU, who had more wins, by the way. At any rate, it's like, and you leave out Notre Dame. That's almost sacrilegious to college football. How can you do that? And my point is it's all subjective. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Now, did they get it right in some regards? It almost feels like, yeah, they did. They got it right from the sense of, they put teams in, but there's no SEC team in there. And I think, according to all the people in the SEC, this is just blasphemous. How can you not have an SEC team in there? Well, because they didn't win. And so that means they weren't that good. And I would rather have it that way. I don't understand. I don't understand. If it's about money, there's going to be more money. Like, you're not going to lose out on money if you're the SEC, if they change the whole structure of college football. And really, and everyone believes this, and why people want to fight it is beyond me. But have work together, create a coalition, a conference, a league, I mean, there's nothing wrong with having a league of college football teams. There's nothing, and have it where it's everyone abides by the same rules. We play the same number of games. We have, we bargain together. And if you have a commissioner or a board of directors that handles the whole situation, and maybe that's how you do it. You have a board of directors of people who have an interest in this, and everyone has a voice and a seat at the table, and the board sits together, and you have a commissioner, and you do all these things. And anyway, so I really wish we got rid of polls. I wish we got rid, like, who are we like beholden to for polls? Oh, we got to have a poll. Like, for what? I mean, the coaches poll? Like, the coaches, do you really think the coaches sit and vote? Do you think they sit in their office while they got all these other things to do and go, okay, they just, check a box here? I mean, I would love to understand how coaches vote. And they go, well, I like this guy. Well, they look pretty good. It's so, I can't stand when people just sit by and see something so blatantly obvious, and we just seem to accept it. And I'm tired of it. And it's like, we just need to wake up, grow up, and change things and make it the right way. And then everyone's going to go, gosh, why didn't we do this 30 years ago? Who knows? All right. Anyways, by the way, the national championship is in a week. Indiana is my team favorite only because I want them just to totally destroy the perception and the way college football is run today. And not because I'm mad, because I want this to be great. This is the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell. We'll be back shortly.
You probably get unwanted emails almost every single day.
Overwhelmed by your inbox? Clean Email is here to help. Organize, clean, and manage your emails with powerful automation tools. Say goodbye to spam and clutter and enjoy a stress-free inbox. Try Clean Email today at cleanemail.com. That's CLEAN email.com. Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
When you learn a language with Babbel, you start a journey that takes you further and further. Anytime and anywhere you wish. It's easy and fun. Broadens your horizons and keeps your brain fit. A journey into new thoughts, new cultures, new adventures. So what are you waiting for? Start your journey with Babbel now. Go to babbel.com or download the app.
Have you ever wondered why so many pet parents are choosing to have virtual vet appointments? Online veterinary care is making it easier than ever to get expert advice for your pet. Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns and expand access to pet care. Book your first appointment today.
Hey, sports fans, welcome back. It's the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. Oh, boy, this has been fun today. Love this show. Love what's going on. Love what we're doing. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you do, subscribe and do all that fun stuff because we appreciate it. And I appreciate it a lot. Fascinating world of sports. It's always a topic that comes up. And it's, of course, this time of year it comes up. It does come up during seasons because coaches get fired during seasons. Most of them get fired at the end. And the NFL is no different. I believe there's 7 openings in the NFL. And what I think what's most fascinating to me about it. So I've got some questions for my trusty sidekick Martin. But one of the things I think is most fascinating to me about, and I'd be curious your answer on this, but my most fascinating thing about new coaches is there's some guy out there that's going to become a coach, and he's going to become the next great coach in the NFL. Now you have to go through a decent number of guys to find that guy, but you take like Liam Cohen and you go, maybe he's the guy, or is he kind of a flash in the pan guy? Because you look at Dan Campbell, you look at Ben Johnson, who's now coaching with the Bears, and of course you don't like the Bears or anything like that, but you have this. That to me is like, who of these new group of coaches is going to be that next guy? And then you have the veteran guys like Harbaugh, and is he going to make a splash like Andy Reid did when, they go, what, you fired Andy Reid from the Eagles and you've had all this success, and then and the Kansas City says, heck yeah, we're going to take Andy Reid. And so where he's go. So what is it to you, Martin, that actually makes you most excited about when a new coaching situation happens in the NFL?
Well, so I'm going to steal the show for a minute. You mentioned that I'm a big
stealing the show
Ben
for a
Johnson
minute.
fan.
Oh,
I got the cheese grater hat the other day, so I was wearing that.
Oh, yes, you did.
Throughout the football game, so I had a little shake that.
Did you wear that the whole entire game?
No, but I wore it after the game. I was trolling some friends on social media.
Oh,
It
my
was
goodness.
the time of my life. Let me
Most
say
of the
that.
game, you probably couldn't be wearing that because the Bears were
Listen,
down
you
most of the
don't
time.
you don't drink. I don't recommend having heart attacks and having a hangover the next day. It's not a fun combination. I could tell you that.
Did
Especially
you
at
throw the
age.
cheese grater at the TV
Oh
often at
man, I had a lot.
with Caleb Williams?
Yeah, it was just what a roller coaster. What a roller coaster Saturday night. I think it's an interesting conversation, Ben.
Well, I
Scott.
think I think you need to put the cheese grater back on. I kind of
Hold
like
on,
that
hold
look.
Hold on.
There we go. That's it. All right.
Yeah, why not? Let's fix something there. Hold on.
Hey, we're holding on here.
Yeah, so I'm trying to get my a little blurry on my face. Oh well. Hold on. Sorry about that.
Are you driving with the other hand? Like,
No. I got my microphone in my hand.
Oh, you got okay.
So, I think it's an interesting question, Scott, because I think it's from a perspective of, we've had some of those veteran coaches who gotten fired who were in the league for a long time. Number one name that comes to mind is Andy Reid. 5 times he took the Philadelphia Eagles to the NFC title game, went to one Super Bowl, got fired, and then started a whole new dynasty in Kansas City. Bill Belichick got fired from the Cleveland Browns, got a new head coaching job, opportunity with the New England Patriots, won there. Bill Parcells, he was with the Denver Broncos and gets fired and gets hired by the New York Giants. So Dick Vermeil, Mark Levy, we've seen a bunch of guys that have worked so hard in the league and have gotten the coaching opportunities and done really well with the understanding of what they know about the league. And then we've seen these young coaches, Mike McDaniels, Sean McVay, Ben Johnson. We've seen a list of DeMarco Ryan down in Houston, Shane Steichen in Indianapolis. So it all really depends on what your franchise is looking for. And I think it's a mixed bag of what you want to do with hiring guys that are over the age of 40, veteran head coaches who have been in the league for 30 years, or hiring the new upcoming offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator that you think deserves a shot. We've seen it, a mixed bag of it work and not work. So I think it's, you asking me because I'm a Bears fan, I'm going to lean towards the young head coach because the young head coach has won me I've seen my team win their first playoff game in 15 years. And it is an exciting time to watch that. But also, Detroit Lions, Matt Campbell, has been around for a long time, and he took them to win a couple of playoff games. So I think it all depends on what your franchise is looking for, what type of leadership you want, because either one works. So
I think you bring up a good question, like, how starved are you as an organization? And I think you could argue, um, you go, well, with a young coach, we kind of have to go through growing pains. We got to kind of have to learn. We have to kind of figure things out a little bit. And I think Ben Johnson's going through that to even on the fly. Now, it's nice that he's won and he made a massive splash his first year. A lot of coaches will say, hey, Ben, you need to slow down a little bit, buddy, because you're going to set a false expectation. You're going to do too much too early, and then the expectations are like, well, we're going to the Super Bowl next year, and you know how hard that is. And but then there's the team. See, because all of a sudden, to me, John Harbaugh has become the most sought after coach right now, and he's 62.
Absolutely.
And I think most organizations go, we're starved to win. And to your point of we haven't sniffed the play, Kansas City Chiefs have gone, look, we've had success as an organization, but we haven't been back to the Super Bowl in a long, long time. And we feel that this is the right scenario. So I think it can go both ways for an organization that's starved to win. And I think most of them would actually go the opposite way and say, we know Harbaugh is a proven commodity. This guy's won a Super Bowl. It's not like he's not been there. I think he's a little bit more in the vein of Sean Payton, where he went to Denver, and Denver, had been to Super Bowls, had success, but they picked the wrong quarterback. They couldn't get out of their way for years. And so I really feel like, a lot of it is I think a lot of teams, it's more appealing to have a veteran guy from Harbaugh. And to me also, it feels like Harbaugh is going to go somewhere and turn it around quickly. It just has that sense. It has that feeling. I'm curious, where do you think John Harbaugh makes the most sense?
I think the most sense, we talked about it on another show. I think the most sense to me is Tennessee, because it's so
we did
laid low. You have Cam Ward, you have Simmons already on your defensive line. You have some structure there. It's a little bit more of a drafting talent, attracting top players to come to Tennessee, because if you don't splash in the head coaching spot, free agents aren't going to want to go to Tennessee just because you have Cam Ward. I mean, the name itself isn't enough. So you have to hire the big time head coach to attract people to come to that team in order for them to turn it around. Draft picks are just not enough, and they're not going to get, the top level prospects with just hiring a Raheem Morris or a Matt Nagy or a Clint Kubiak or, someone like that. That's not the big splash hire. Tennessee, to me, needs to go after Harbaugh in the most desperate way. If Harbaugh says, I need $20 million, a $10 million head coaching staff budget, I need to have roster control, I need to have this, do it. You have Cam Ward for only a short amount of time. Cam is still pretty much not ready yet to lead a team to a Super Bowl or to a consecutive amount of playoff wins. But in order to test out that theory, you need to go for the big fish. And obviously he's going to want to go to other places, New York or Miami, places that already have establishments that would be better for free agent targets. But I think Tennessee needs to be as aggressive as they can to prove to John Harbaugh, hey, listen, this is worth the risk. We'll pay you the money. We'll give you ownership. We'll give you a percentage of ownership. Whatever they have to do to convince John Harbaugh to go to Tennessee and turn the Titans around, I think is the destination that he should go to, because if he wants, again, we said it on the program, if he wants to redo with a young quarterback and to learn what the mistakes that he made with Lamar Jackson, Cam Ward is the right guy.
Well, the young quarterback's always interesting, and it's a new dynamic in professional football, because so many of them are succeeding at a much younger age.
Mm-hmm.
You look at C.J. Stroud a couple of years ago, and you look at Brock Purdy, and you look at Jaden Daniels with the Redskins, and I'm probably missing someone there, but the point is that these guys, for whatever reason, the game's different. The rules have changed. Younger players are more adapt to the NFL game. It's maybe the NFL game's kind of gone a little bit easier than say and more geared towards this spread offense and easy reads and what have you. But the point is that these younger quarterbacks are now having they don't cost as much, and so you can take a ride with a young quarterback. You can shore up different places through free agency and the draft and what have you, and you can move a lot quicker and have a bigger window and an opportunity. And I think that's actually where John Harbaugh is. And I think it's like, and so the question is, which one of these two guys? Is it Jackson Dart? Is it Cam Ward? Is this guy ready? Which one of these guys is more ready right now to lead a team into the playoffs? Because now once they get out of their rookie contracts, and if they prove to be worth anything, then you're gonna have to pay them more, and then you have to kind of make decisions about your roster and who you keep and who you have to let go. And so you have this nice little window, and really Harbaugh at 62 goes, I don't have a big window. I probably don't want a big window. And maybe that's not the case because he's a Harbaugh, right? And they'll probably coach forever. But I think that's kind of part of the strategy is because for me, that's what I would look at. I would look at where's the quarterback situation and how is it impacting the rest of the team. Now, if you're a guy like, Mike Vrabel might be in the catbird seat because he's now identified the next young quarterback who's probably New England could make a real push here for the next 4 or 5 years to be that team to really cement and be competitive for a decent window. And then you have the Vrabel that goes, let me tell you about a guy named Tom Brady. And maybe he talks a guy like Drake May down the road into, you probably need to take less if you want to stay here. And if you want to be the next Tom Brady, and who knows, maybe Drake May is that next great superstar in the NFL. All right, I'm giving you last word. Any last thoughts?
I have to say that it was a really fun show. It was fun listening to Tom Moore about all the stories about the Super Bowl teams, Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. It was an extraordinary fun time. I agree with you on the takes with all the wild card games. That was a fun, exciting time. Miami versus Indiana. Who would have ever thought a basketball school like Indiana was going to show up for a national championship? Never thought of that in my life. And, if you had to ask me, I would take Cam Ward over Jackson Dart. I know you love Jackson Dart, a Utah kid, a prodigy, one of the best Utah kids to come out of Utah to live up to this NFL hype. But I take Cam Ward. I think he's the next established star in the waiting. And I agree with you, Drake May. Who knows? A second-year guy may just win the MVP after a legitimately fun playoff run. We'll see.
Yeah, so much to look forward to, and that's what we love sports. So got a great game coming on tonight. We'll have a great show the rest of the week. Got some exciting guests that are going to be a part of the show. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for tuning in. This has been the Down and Dirty with Scott Mitchell here on YouTube. Until then, we'll see you then.
We are Rogue Media Sports.